Hi, this is Eric from longboxreview.com. Welcome to the show and welcome to this month's, and this month being April 2022, this month's Spotlight episode, where I'm going to spotlight some news, some previews, and I will spotlight the Deadliest Bouquet graphic novel. But first up, the news. And unfortunately, as it seems like every month I am spotlighting the unfortunate death of some comic book creators, and this month is no different. I have two such reports here. The first one being writer Tom Veitch died at the age of 80 due to complications from COVID-19. This is according to a public Facebook post from his brother, artist-writer Rick Veitch. Tom's work included working on The Naz with artist Brian Talbot, Clash with artist Adam Kubert, My Name is Chaos with artist John Ridgway, and Animal Man, mostly with artist Steve Dillon. And of the Animal Man issues, those were issues 33 to 50 in my collection, and I have up to 63 issues of Animal Man, and so he wrote a good chunk of those. I don't remember much about the stories at that time, but that was a long time ago, so maybe I'll have to go back and revisit those to see what Mr. Veitch provided, what entertainment Mr. Veitch provided to me. Of the other mentioned comic books, The Naz is the only one that I knew of by him. So anyway, sad news for his family and friends. Likewise, I saw on Twitter that Gary Leach had died. He was 67, much too young. But I recognized the name, but I could not place what I knew the name from. But I knew it was something prominent and or important. And then, of course, when I read the article, I immediately saw that it was the artist for Miracle Man when that series was relaunched, repackaged, reimagined. I'm not exactly sure what word applies to Miracle Man. But when they redid Miracle Man back in the mid to late 80s, and with Alan Moore writing, so Gary Leach was, I believe, the first artist on that series, and then Alan Davis took over. And I think there was a couple other folks that did some fill-in issues along the way for that particular series. Anyway, besides Miracle Man, which Leach's work was perfect for, it's kind of gritty and dark, and Gary Leach did a wonderful job of reintroducing Alan Moore's vision of the Marvel Man character as Miracle Man to the world in, I want to say, 85. That's the year that's jumping to me, but I honestly don't remember. But anyway, besides Miracle Man, Gary Leach also worked on Hitman, which I have not read. Have thought often, because it's usually mentioned with such reverence by many people over the years that I've heard or read talking about this. So, and then from Marvel, the 12, which I did read, and that was really good. That was a really good series. So if you've not checked out either Miracle Man or the 12, I highly recommend those, and I know others would recommend Hitman as well. Now on to something a little more positive. So I believe I've talked before about the Milestone Initiative, the DC Comics Talent Development Program. So they have named their 24 inaugural participants of that initiative. And the program was designed to identify and empower Black and diverse creators. And so we have, like I said, the first 24 for that class initiative, whatever it is. So this is part of DC's new talent development called Next Generation DC, which was designed so that, quote, the stories of the next century are truly reflective of the world around us, which is a lofty and wonderful goal to have. So the Kubert School will provide an 8-week course, and DC will, again, a quote, work with the participants to find comic book assignments and other work to help them develop as creators and advance their careers at DC and in the comics industry. And if you'd like to find out more about these 24 participants, the profiles of them are at the initiative website, milestone.dcuniverse.com. So go check that out and look for their work in the future. So new digital publishing platform Zestworld, which is an interesting name. And this is something totally out of the blue for me. I had no idea that this was even being talked about until I was researching what news to bring to you. Anyway, this platform wants to provide comic writers and artists a centralized platform tailored to the idiosyncrasies of the comics format and industry and fracture the Marvel and DC duopoly. What a mission statement. Zestworld's goal is to provide these services to the top creators in the digital comics industry in the way that works best for them, allowing them to focus on the work of making comics instead of serving as their own publishers, business managers, and fan club presidents, as the article mentioned. The creator and properties include the following. The Awakened, a superhero noir from Alex Segura, Michael Morrissey, Dean Kotz, and Jason Wordie. Boom Pow, a sci-fi smash 'em up from Amanda Connor and Jimmy Palmiotti. And Otherworlds, a reimagining of the Otherworld saga by Phil Jimenez, with more to come as well. But I am so excited for that last one, because if you've not read Otherworld by Phil Jimenez, and I don't remember everybody else that was working on that, but this was, I don't even remember when the series came out, but I want to say I got it in the early 2000s in trade, and then I loved it so much that I eventually went back and found the single issues back when I was doing that sort of thing. It's such a good short run series that could have gone on. I wish it had gone on. So like I said, I'm very excited to see that that world in some capacity, because it is a reimagining, is coming back. And of course, to see Phil Jimenez art is always wonderful. No release dates for any of these at the time of this recording. All right. And I'll end the news section with a couple more DC news bits. First up, and this is very new in terms of, or this is very timely. So the DC Universe Infinite comic reading app, the DCUI, as I sometimes like to call it. Anyway, that is finally coming to other countries besides the United States. And first, it's coming to Canada, with the United Kingdom, Australia, Brazil, Mexico to follow, with more to come as well. So they're finally expanding that out to the rest of the world in some capacity. So that's really good for the readers. Maybe some of you who listen to this who are outside of the United States. So you get to experience what DC has to offer for their digital line. I don't know, now that I'm thinking about it, I should think about these things before I hit the record button. Is Marvel Unlimited available elsewhere besides the United States? Probably, because I think they seem to have a little bit more, I was going to say more of a plan for their stuff, but I don't particularly like the design of Marvel Unlimited, so I don't know, who knows. All right, and then finally, so DC, I think last year they did a round robin tournament, and they're doing it again. And yes, I totally agree with you that it's not fair. It's kind of dumb. Why don't they just publish all of these things, even if it's just digitally? Just give us all the stories. Give us all the comic books instead of doing this weird participant thing. But proved very popular, obviously, because they brought it back. So they have, at the time of this recording, voting for the first round was continuing through April 3rd, which is today, as I record this. And so by the time you listen to this, it'll be probably the second round, and the tournament runs through May 17th. And so if you were to go check out the offerings, let's see, I'll just run through them real quick if I can find them all quickly. There's a Hawkman, Hawkwoman story versus Wildcat. Don't vote. God, I hope Wildcat does not win. I hate that character. The Questions, plural, versus Constantine and the Demon. That's kind of a hard choice. Suicide Squad Dark versus Justice League Redacted, whatever the hell that means. Firestorm Fourth World Problems versus Kid Flash The Speed of Fear. Which Kid Flash is this? Wallace West. So the younger one. Black Canary, When Canaries Cry versus Green Lantern, The Light at the End of Forever. Nice little title, but do we really need more Green Lantern stories? DC Horror presents Ghost Tour from Hell. That sounds kind of neat. Versus Animal-Man, The Metamorphosis. Another Green Lantern, The Birth of Conspiracy versus Captain Carrot and his best friend Darkseid. Oh my God. I know it's not going to win, but I want Captain Carrot to win. I would pay full price for that. Superboy, The Man of Tomorrow. Don't we already have something like that? Anyway, versus Cyborg Cybergots. And so those are the first round. And so, like I said, by the time you hear this, that first round is over. But maybe whoever wins of these moves on to the next round will be available to you. I did see, because yes, like I said, we should have them all. They should just give them all of us except Wildcat. But I did vote in these because I was curious where the rest of my fellow voting people out there in the Twitterverse, at least that's where I voted, was on Twitter. But because you can vote on Twitter, on their webpage, through the DCU app, I think, other places, I'm sure. Anyway, what I discovered was that most people were not agreeing with my choices. I think there was only one at the time that I looked, and this was like 2 days ago. Everybody was outvoting my choices. So the likelihood of that Captain Carrot series moving forward is probably slim to nothing. So, unfortunately, damn. His best friend Darkseid, come on! All right. Moving on to a spotlight on the Deadliest Bouquet graphic novel. So this is one of those creator / comic book spotlights where I get all these email inquiries asking me to take a look at their works and promote them if I so choose. And this is one from a while back because I'm working through my backlog. But once I read the description and I looked at the Kickstarter video that they had for this, this sounds like a fun graphic novel. So this is by Erica Schultz, writer Erica Schultz, artist Carola Borelli, and colorist Gab Contreras. And I'll let Erica describe the series for you.
Hey there, Erica Schultz here, and I want to take you back to 1998 and introduce you to this deadly and dysfunctional family. Meet the Hawthorne sisters, Wrecking Ball Rose, Punchy Poppy, and Violent Violet. They were trained by their Nazi hunting mom, Jasmine. But when Jasmine is found dead, these estranged sisters have to reunite to solve her murder and try not to kill each other in the process. The incredible art by Carola Borelli and Gab Contreras brings this story of family secrets and lies to life. And the fabulous cover by superstar Kevin Wada captures the grunge meets pop aesthetic of the 90s, complementing this 120-page graphic novel. It's secrets, lies, and family drama in the Deadliest Bouquet. Thanks for your support.
So there you go. So this came out late last year, I think late November of 2021. And so that is still available at Erica's website. And I'll have a link in the show notes for that. But I like the premise, or if you like the premise of, badass vengeance-seeking sisters, that's a book for you, it sounds like. All right, now we move on to the final segment of my Spotlight episode, previews. So I'll spotlight some things that I saw in the previews catalog that caught my interest in some way, and I'll start with DC, as I usually do. And so normally I would not spotlight an event book because they have been not so great in the last few years. And maybe you think even longer than that. But I've not been getting event books for a while. I choose, at least now that I have the subscriptions, I choose to read the DC and Marvel events on their apps. But I have to say, for the first time in a long time, even though it has Crisis in the title, Dark Crisis may just pull me back in. It says here, the description for this is Crisis on Infinite Earths, Infinite Crisis, Final Crisis, and now Dark Crisis. The epic event years in the making, well, duh, is finally here. Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, and the rest of the Justice League are dead. The remaining heroes are left to protect the world from an onslaught of violent attacks by DC's greatest villains. Okay, I'll just stop right there because that description does not make me want to read this. It's just like, well, it's just another hero versus villain punch-up. Why is that special? Can the legacy heroes step out of the shadows? Get it? Get it? Shadows, Dark Crisis? Funny. The classic heroes to form a new Justice League? Well, yes, they could. They have. They've done it many times. And will it be enough to stop a darkness greater than anything they've ever faced from destroying everything? See, that line, that's where they should be punching this up. This is where they should be really promoting that aspect of this. Because this is, like I said, this is just heroes coming together to fight some villains. Well, okay, that's every freaking month of superhero comic books. So what's special about this? Anyway, so obviously I have some criticisms of the description here and potentially the premise of the book, but it was the cover, the main cover that I saw featuring Nightwing, Wally West Flash, and Wonder Girl. So members of the Titans featured prominently in this, and they're talking about the legacy heroes forming a new Justice League. You know, for some reason, that concept, having the Titans step into their mentors' shoes, so to speak, and be the premier superheroes of the DC universe, I'm all for that. Now, obviously, that's not going to stick. It's not going to stay. They'll revert it in some way because, you know, they're not going to get rid of Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman and the rest of the Justice League. But I'm very curious. And I know other Crisis kids out there are probably very excited about this. And I partially am too, but I haven't decided yet. However, there is one of the variant covers is by Bruno Redondo and features Nightwing prominently. At the very least, I will get that issue. So we'll see. I don't know if I want to commit to 7 issues of probably likely mediocre event book. All right, this next and final DC comic spotlight is the new series Black Adam, which I assume is a way to tie into the movie coming out. But what drew me into this was that Christopher Priest is writing it. So with art by Rafa Sandoval. And painted covers by, I did not notice this before, but as I'm reading the text, Irvin Rodriguez. So, yeah, as it says here, Priest brings his trademark wit and skill for character deconstruction to an entirely fresh examination of the man you love to hate. Get ready to ride the lightning. So, and part of the story is Black Adam transferring his powers to a worthy successor because he's been infected with an incurable plague destroying his immortality. So, I assume this is a way to go from Teth Adam to the Dwayne Johnson version of Black Adam in the movie. I don't know. We shall see, I guess. But Christopher Priest writing Black Adam. I am so tempted. I will wait. I'll wait 6 months. You know, here's an aside. I wish the DC folks would get their act together and release their digital versions of their comics sooner than every 6 months. I hate being 6 months behind. And Marvel does it 2 or 3 months later, which is, I'd be happy with 3. DC, please go to 3 months. All right. Speaking of Marvel, here we go. I've talked before about the Al Ewing and Javier Rodriguez Defender series, of which I read the first issue and absolutely loved it. and am waiting for the trade to be delivered so I can read the rest of it in paper form. But that's obviously over, and so now they're doing another Defenders series. But we get all new lineup, which includes Loki, God of Stories, it says. When Doctor Strange sends a dire warning from beyond the grave, Blue Marvel, America Chavez, Taya, Galactus's mom, Tigra, and Loki assemble to defend reality itself. And it says, plus you won't believe who shows up on the final page. Well, whatever. But I mean, just those two creators together, based on the first issue of their previous Defender series alone, makes me want to read this. And the cast of characters here, including America Chavez, Loki. Yes. This just here, take my money, Marvel. Okay. Speaking of taking my money, this is one of my favorite characters in Marvel Comics. This is Jessica Jones. The Brian Michael Bendis created Jessica Jones. Anyway, so it's called The Variants. This is by Phil Noto and Gail Simone. So they're, top quality creators on this book. And so, and boy, is Marvel really leaning into the whole multiverse aspect in their books these days. So what would it really be like to meet an alternate version of yourself, another you who had made different choices and lived a completely different life as a result? That's the question facing Jessica Jones, as what seemed like a routine investigation instead has her encountering other incarnations of herself from across the multiverse. Can Jessica get along with herself? Spoiler alert, this is me. With this aside, no. Okay, will she want to kill her other self? Yeah, there we go. And will seeing the lives she could have led drive her into a self-destructive spiral? Yes. So anyway, the premise sounds really interesting. Like I said, I love that character, so I'm very interested in getting the trade when it comes out. All right, and then finally, I'm including this because it has to do with George Perez and something that is part of this collection. So this is the Avengers by Busiek and Perez. See, this is what they freaking should do on all these books. None of this X-Men by Jonathan Hickman crap. It should be X-Men by Hickman, and then I forget the artist name. See, that's why. But they should always include the writer and the artist, and they should really include the other way around. But anyway, Avengers by Busiek and Perez, Omnibus Volume 1, hardcover. So this collects Avengers, the 1998 Avengers issues 0 through 23. Some annuals, some other issues of Iron Man, Captain America, Quicksilver. But then this is why I'm mentioning this, Avengers Forever, that miniseries, the 12-issue miniseries. So I am very tempted to get this, not necessarily for the Avengers, because I have the Avengers run that Perez did. I have everything that he drew in that event. I have those in single issues. I don't need this omnibus for that. What I don't have, I do. I have a very old trade. I think maybe the first trade that they released of Avengers Forever, and the glue in the binding dried up and cracked, and basically the cover and pages are falling apart. So I want another version of this. I need another collection. So is this the only way to get it right now? I think so. So anyway, I shouldn't get this, but maybe you want to. I just thought it was interesting that they're including Avengers Forever in this, because that is not a George Perez book. But yeah, weird. Okay, one thing from Image here, Public Domain. So this is by this is all by Chip Zdarsky. So this is all him. So it says here, Sid Dallas is responsible for pop culture's greatest hero, The Domain, but his sons Miles and David have a complicated relationship with both the creation and their creator. Can they convince their dad to fight for their family's legacy? This fun and heartfelt series, written and illustrated by Chip Zdarsky, explores a wild alternate world where comic book creators aren't properly acknowledged or compensated for their creators. Crazy, I know. Hi, it's me, Chip. I'm writing this solicitation. Come on. There's your trademark Zdarsky wit. But yeah, that seems like a really interesting story. commentary, I'm sure, about creator compensation and recognition. So told in I'm sure, a humorous but engaging way. So we shall see. From Image, so yeah, I'll probably be picking up the trade eventually. Moving on to Aftershock, we have Astronaut Down from says artist Rubin and writer James Patrick. Anyway, Douglas Spitzer wants to be one of the astronauts selected for the crucial mission Pulitzer, and just like astronauts like, oh, come on, people who write these things. And just like astronauts such as Buzz Aldrin and Sally Ride, Douglas is brave, adaptable, and self-sacrificing. He's one of the program's best candidates, but if he qualifies, Douglas won't be traveling through space. He'll be launched into alternate realities on a desperate mission to save Earth from a horrific crisis that has our world on the brink of extinction. Unfortunately, it's a mission where everything will go wrong, where Douglas's training and very humanity will be put to the test, and where a deep-seated secret could sabotage everything. So just the sci-fi angle of this appeals to me. So I'll probably get that in trade. But again, alternate realities, multiverse, boy, that's the buzzword these days in comic books, it seems. From Boom, regarding the matter of Oswald's body, that trade is finally coming out, which is why I want to spotlight it, by Luca Casalanguida and writer Christopher Cantwell. So where is Lee Harvey Oswald's body? The Kennedy assassination is a rat's nest of conspiracy theories, mafia involvement, a second gunman, a government cover-up, but the most important one may just be the idea that the body in Oswald's grave is not actually Lee Harvey. Meet the ragtag group of useful idiots unwittingly brought together to clean up the crime of the century. So the creators deliver an off-kilter crime thriller set in the shadows of history's greatest conspiracy. So it collects issues 1 through 5 of that series. Considering that the Department of Truth features Lee Harvey Oswald, and so we have this as well. So it's the Kennedy assassination, Lee Harvey Oswald just seems to be in the zeitgeist right now with these two series coming out about the same time. From Dark Horse, I have a couple things. Always Never, trade paperback by Jordi Lefebvre. After 40 years of being madly in love, Anna and Zeno are finally retiring, which is partly why I decided to talk about this, because, that could be something in my near future, and giving their romance a chance to bloom while they both still have time left. A unique but relatable love story told in reverse. And that's the other thing that got me interested in this, with each chapter stepping further back through the decades of touch-and-go courting, showing both the heartbreaking moments that kept the two lovers apart and the beautiful moments that kept their flame alive. This isn't a tale of missed connections and regret, but rather a story celebrating the complexities of family, responsibility, destiny, and how love persists across time with complete disregard for all of that. A unique love story starting with chapter 20 and rewinding to chapter 1 of the romance. So just playing around with how the story is told, and also just the idea, like it says, celebrating the complexities of their lives. That really appeals to me right now. So I just wanted to call your attention to that. And then next is Daisy, a hardcover from Colin Lorimer. A desperate mother's search for her missing son leads to the mysterious family of Daisy Phillips. Like many teens, Daisy has a hard time fitting in, but for atypical reasons. Daisy stands over 8 feet tall and believes herself descended from cannibalistic giants spawned from the outcasts of heaven. Well, that took a turn, didn't it? This frail, disfigured youth may hold the key to unlock the language of creation, the divine DNA of God, and expose the monstrosities that lie hidden within creation itself. I mean, I often criticize solicitation descriptions for the way they're written, but this is perfect, because this is like, oh wow, what does that mean? What? So it has me interested anyway. From Graphics, a publisher that I don't normally mention, but this sounds pretty cool. Welcome to Saint Hell, My Trans Teen Misadventure by Lewis Hancox. So Lewis has a few things to say to his younger teen self. He knows she hates her body. He knows she's confused about who to snog. He knows she's really a he and will ultimately realize this, but she's going to go through a whole lot of mess, some of it funny, some of it not funny at all, to get to that point. Lewis is trying to tell her this, but she's refusing to listen. In Welcome to St. Hell, author-illustrator Lewis Hancox takes readers on the hilarious, heartbreaking, and healing path he took to pass trauma, confusion, hurt, and dubious fashion choices in order to become the man he was meant to be. This is a very timely book, given the discussions that have been going on about trans teens and what they go through, and the lack of support that they need, which is disgusting in this country that we don't, the way that we seem to be going in the political realm about this. This just makes me sick. So this looks like to be a really good book that examines some of these issues, at least on a very personal level. From IDW, we have Radical: My Year with a Socialist Senator by Sophia Warren. This is a really long description. Basically, Sophia Warren follows a first-year senator on her unforgettable journey from outsider to insider. So this looks like, so it looks like Senator Julia Salazar, a 27-year-old Democratic socialist running for state senate, caught the attention of Warren, and so she became embedded with the campaign and started writing and drawing things that were going on from the grassroots campaign through winning and then through governing. And so what does that all mean? And what does it take here to actually go from an outsider who's poking at the establishment saying, I can do a better job than these guys, to being the establishment? And what do you do then? What kind of compromises do you make? How do you maintain your integrity? How do you still represent those who elected you based on the things you said when you were running, all that kind of stuff. So I'm very interested in this. So it says here, along the way, Warren works toward answers to deeper questions. What makes a good leader? What does it mean to be part of a community? Can democracy work? How can everyday people make change happen? All those themes are explored with nuance, compassion, and humor in Warren's debut. So yeah, another very timely book. All right, the penultimate book here from Red 5 Comics, Fictionauts. And I believe this is a book that I have seen in previews before. I may have even mentioned it in the past. But this is by Leandro Rizzo and Mauro Montella. It says here, fantasy is a serious business for this team as they scour fictional worlds to right dangerous anomalies and preserve the balance between reality and imagination. But recently, a rash of unexplained disturbances across the fictional universe has started to tear it apart, and they face the ultimate challenge when the mysterious Agent X threatens to bring down the barriers between our world and the world of stories. Dive headlong into the madcap, mind-bending world of the Fictionauts. So, as a former writer and storyteller, this is right up my alley. So I'll have to give that a shot, I think. Okay, and then finally from Vault Comics, Dark Interlude from Andre Moody and Michael Sullivan, with cover art by Ariella Cristantina. Says here, infinite sequels, dark creatures, endless possibilities, trapped in repetition. Okay, not as good as the description for Daisy, but okay, let's go on. This is the story of how humanity escapes. The world is trapped and doomed. Trapped in a cycle of infinite sequels, the world is doomed to repeat tired tropes and cliched conflicts without end. Unless, that is, unreliable narrator, notorious plagiarist, and sequel denier Henry can unleash, it's like Humbert from Lolita, can unleash something so awful it deserves no repetition. After the stunning success of Fearscape comes a dark interlude, the story of No. The only offense to literature greater than the loathsome synopsis is the sequel. Okay. I take back what I said about the description text. I will not stand idle while some poor excuse for an editor mangles and confuses my story, which is intact, perfect, and concluded with this derivative drivel. Mark my words, this nonsense has nothing to do with my tale. I am not in it. I do not condone it, and you, dear reader, should not buy it. HH. But don't listen to Henry. The only way to escape is to buy this book. So, and this collects the 5-issue series. That was delightful. Sometimes I read these things and I put them in my Google Docs so I can talk about them here. But I don't really absorb it like I do when I actually read them. So, that sounds like a lot of fun too. So lots of good trades in my future, as it looks like. All right, that is all I have for you today for my Spotlight episode for news, previews, and Spotlight on the Deadliest Bouquet. Let me know what you think of any of these news bits. If you have any recommendations for me for previews or for anybody else that I can pass along as well. If you'd like to send me email, do so at longboxreview@gmail.com. Leave comments at the website, and you can also interact with me on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Longbox Review. And with that, thank you so much. Thanks for listening, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.